조심해도장을 마디 상제 신도 메제 부 조근 남다 신라 제바 다음 구루라 나는다 나다야미스 다 숨바 통반당 공방의 천디니 다 다진 기타 뉴스를 이제 사변 신바 제바 딸 세대 통방의 천디 자야돼 아니 지신 등이 통화에 통반나는 도바차 세대 다진 사업 지진에 새로와 기타 누구소 림기 제배 아니 사변 신바 제진 사변 신바 냠바 제바 나신 대권한 영모심도 사도 통화이 아니 통남 파제매람 대기 아니 반자 통반남 테마타도 뉴든 더버려 주에 아니 최충발에 니소
So I am showing the corresponding symbolism of the symbolism for the path of seeing abandonments, the seed and the sprout, and just as when the sprout gradually grows and thereby splitting and destroying the outer covering of the seed, then likewise the new seeing of the suchness of direct perception will immediately destroy the abandonments of the path of seeing.
공방당确定자야 되라 공방 거루당确定자야 되라 아니 파발람단 대화이 지조님보 조남지 세도다 권함이 시방자나 거루다다 충받된 세대 자와티 말이
and then the path the abandonment of the path of meditation as symbolized by that worn out tattered clothing. The verse 141. From a relation with the path of superiors directly seeing the reality of the four truths, the objects of abandonment, by the exalted wisdom of the path of meditation of those who have overcome the essence or main of the objects of abandonment, the false view of the transitory collection as inherently existent, I and mine, so forth, are indicated like tattered garments in that they lack a core of hardness.
사탐복이 깨질 사탐복 다시 전에 사탐복들라 통남도 권한 이유에 비치네 안 통남 받지 매랑들 남로람께 남로란 그 잠을 제라 아니 제도도 상니 아니 다 가서래 제도 그 내가 수 공방 그 방자들라 아니 방자 첨부네 방교와리 인자 방자 첨부 뽕위 아니 돈이도 비셔라비 엄냠샤이 시 아니 방자 공방 방자 첨부 뽕위 치도 니와다 담비 니와다 담바지 기비 치도 니랭기 치도 아니 제도 쓰나미시 소사 대사자라더니 라야 돈이라 제주도 냠바샤니 냠샤테 아니 공방 댄싱 첨비 첨보 다 타라니 청가 메제와르 공방 된거 랑경 와가지 댄싱 첨비 언니도 남성와나 아니 가사대 광남 토교와리
So when one first attain in the first level, first bhumi, then you have both the path of path of seeing and the path of meditation. So the last moment of the first level, after generating the uninterrupted path, then you have, as a result of that, the path of liberation, which is generated, and now in preparation for being able to abandon the objects of abandonment of the path of meditation, in order to have the wisdom realizing emptiness that is fully empowered to engage in that kind of equipoise that is able to destroy the great of the great, grasping a true existence on the path of meditation. For that purpose, then you accumulate the two types of merit.
Pabe lamdang jewa sigla ta sa thambo ki kaji thama jewa sanam da sa thambo ne su de kolam ane gombe lam ji pabe lam.
So the last moment of the first level is the path of meditation in the Arya path.
Ina sa tumba ne jebi ka phaji sa sa re ki ane phaja maram re dang ane the chang bi nam ru lam re che ta du si wa re yin dan den da wa ba xin du ane phaja maram de ka pa ja the dan the chom ni de pha ba lam dan de wa la ane yang do khom ba che ba la ji zo la da yin yin bo se de ji da dang ta da ni wo de la 가서 따왕을 그나요 공방 연결이 되인바 이제 사 마게 사니와네 순사탑에까지 타만네 순데 아니 직다들 예와 체체 다 가져니 공방 연문들 예와 체체 봐 신도 공부 말인다 직조를 따위 인보 좀봐 남지 라바세비 하마 남지 있을까 다야게 통방세비 유빈이 지나네 통방세바디 통방세바 인상 그 유빈이가는 아니 직세보다 최종바 아니 공방 그루다 잡아 송이 말이야.
So in each of the levels of the path, then you generate an uninterrupted path at each level, the uninterrupted path which destroys its object of abandonment, and then giving rise to its own individual liberated path in relation to that particular level, So from repeated meditation on the path of the Aryas, then the remaining essence of the view of the transitory collection are destroyed in their coarse form. So yesterday we talked about, you have the view of transitory collection and extreme views that are objects of abandonment on the path on the path of seeing, on the path of meditation. Here, when we talk about the transitory collection are destroyed in their coarse form, is destroying the object of abandonment of the path of seeing. These are the abandonments of the path of meditation to be destroyed by the gnosis of the path of meditation. They are taught by the simile of worn-out clothes that no longer have any essence or value. The last moment of the first level, which is the last moment of the first level, is the uninterrupted path of the first level. And so, when when that uninterrupted path destroys this object of abandonment and the path of liberation is attained, that is simultaneous with attainment of the second bhumi or second level.
인자 사든비 사탕비 까지 탐하게 와가게 파제 멜람티게 방자데 방비 남돌라 토바나 아니 산니와 톱 드니야 산니위 까지 파제 멜람게 와가게 방자 방비 방자데 산니위 파제 멜람게 체 대기 장비 남돌라 토바나 사슴바 톱 다디 산니와 연자라 남돌라 왕도 체네 파제 멜람데 아니 제를 두스토고 하리
So just like this, just like how in the first level's last moment, uninterrupted path destroys this object of abandonment, and as a result, then the liberated path is generated, and that is simultaneous with the attainment of the second level. Again, at the second level, when that uninterrupted path destroys its object of abandonment, then the liberated path is generated, and with that liberated path, you attain the third level. So like this, at the beginning of each of these levels, you have a liberated path, and each of those levels, given levels, end off with an uninterrupted path.
아니 덴징 충우 고송게 아니 덴징 그 아니 채나 충우 고송래 대방비 바자멜라 그 아니 채나 대방비 남로라 토바다 아니 사자바 토바 튀냥 투심 말.
And at the seventh level, then the uninterrupted path of the seventh level then acts as an antidote, destroying the small the three cycles of small grasping at true existence are destroyed by that uninterrupted path, and then when the liberated path is generated, then you attain the eighth level.
那提前了，但希望马大巴达他别杀了，但比这比确定你是吧？马大巴的他谈到几点是吧？杀对来点吃嘛你上海的真的修下双，杀对来点吃嘛你我不吃嘛查他，我不查这马多比以前那把并不行是的干了，早我提的。 And
then verse 142, the defilements dependent upon the seven impure grounds are similar to the defilement of covering of a womb, since what one has is not seen, or since those defiled states of mind involve exertion, like being freed from the covering of the womb. The arising of the exalted non-conceptual wisdom without exertion on the pure grounds is like the birth of a developed universal monarch, in that such does not depend upon exertion. So the defilements of the seven impure levels is like the defilement of the covering of a womb. So obscuring the non-conceptual exalted knower of the eighth level. So this is the grasping at the true existence. Grasping at true existence is abandoned from the eighth level onwards. So according to the Swatantrika system, then this would be only the manifest form of the grasping at true existence.
ngawu chimatan chawa ngabudan chawa dravi sajaba an sajabi tobi midobi xie sena namba midobi xie se nyamsha xie la ko ngonji le la zome de chu namba mimba xindu bezo nyawara xaba bezo nyawara xibi taba sajum dan jewi chimanam ani sadam junsa kwewa xindu xewa cha sai dam junsa kwewa xindu xewa chao 다 배소 녀와를 씌웠으나 배소 라바 녀와 씌워라 마도 배소 녀와 씌워라 자요 마사 배소 녀와 씌워데 산자가 사나만 마체
So the defilements found on the 7 impure levels are likened to the defilement of the covering of the womb because they hide what should be known. The non-conceptual gnosis of the 8th level is likened to being freed from the covering of the womb, and it's a ripening arising effortlessly from previous karma. And so when she says is you're freed from a coarse form you're free from a coarse form of effort. It's not an effortless thing. Effortless engagement is only in the state of Buddhahood. So ripening arising effortlessly. This effort is effortless is regarded to as a very gross or coarse form of effort.
저들은 정말 아부 타다 아부 타다 마도비 신한 법면 바신 세트제 아 되니 아부 신한 법면 바스 라다 되기 신한 법면 바신 다 되기 제마 되 아부 되 산 여기 타바다 마다바 이셰비 나네 타바 샤야죠 지오마디 디데샤 나딩 나 제와딩에 로자소 사슴제제 치면은 사담 거시 셰샤데 당이 전부 도시 디딩엔 든지 점자인 세디 바지 디 세르산도
And then the next stanza, the defilements related with the 3 pure grounds are to be known like an earth mold that covers a golden statue. They are overcome by the Vajra-like meditative stabilization of those great beings at the end of the continuum of being a sentient being.
배조 매바 바서 라바 매바 좀에도 지위 남바 멤버 신도 배조 녀와시 배조 라바 녀와시 안에 타바사슴단 제위 치만남 안에 사담 중사 커와시도 샤와 차디 세야되라 사슴 제지 현재는 치만나 사담 거시 샤와 차 세.
So just read the part of the commentary. The non-conceptual gnosis of the 8th level is likened to being freed from the covering of the womb, and it's a ripening arising effortlessly, arising free of the coarse effort from previous karma. Similarly, defilements connected with the 3 pure levels on which all effort is almost neutralized are like the thin covering of the clay mold, which will be destroyed by the mighty Vajra-like samadhi.
Oh yeah, that's it. Tendu dela. Tendu inati. Tendu adina. Chaso chimo gubo. Bemanda an dengar sheba da da chaso chimo gubo dana soba tata chesumba shewa chao sita.
So then the summary is, as explained previously, the 9 defilements, desire, and so forth are likened to the lotus, etc. It is acceptable to explain these 2 lines as the link to the following section, but they are explained here as the summary of the previous section.
Tatini, Tayagi, Azore, Dibja come to bed in the Chedin Shaba, said he.
So the summary is verse 144, and then explaining the correspondence in the similes of the obscured basic element. Then this has general and specific explanation. So the root text is because of having three natures, the basic constituent is qualitatively similar with the 9 examples of a Buddha, so forth. Because the basic element can be summarized by the threefold nature, such as the which is verse, I think, there's this verse 27. Because a perfect Buddha's body is pervasive, and because suchness is without differentiation, and because a Buddha lineage exists, all embodied beings are always in possession of a Buddha essence. It has been likened to a form of that Buddha, and so forth. This one. So now this specific explanation. This has general explanations of the similes and expanded explanation of the correspondence. So what is the threefold nature of this basic element that sentient beings have the potency to become Buddha? That natural purity. So what is the nature of what are these three natures, threefold nature of this basic element? And the root verse is 145. The three natures of this essence, the doctrine body of self-arisen exalted wisdom, the unchangeable suchness, and the lineage for achieving Buddhahood, are to be known respectively through the first 3 examples, 1 example gold, and the other remaining 5 examples.
Anita Semja Tamjala Tawa Dimbi Junjan Chugu Sega Chugu Chile Anito Ishi Chugu Chile Toa the Sigari Time to the Chugu Tang Ani Tishin Yidang Ani Karik Sela Taku Jurundang Dijada Dumache Ni Yubiti Kante Ride Sumboteni rinpa신도 배숨당 직당 아이 안 셰가 그래.
So how this Buddha Tathagata Garbha, this nature pervades all sentient beings. So and so this Dharmakaya, this suchness, and this lineage, which is this lineage has the compounded lineage and the uncompounded lineage. So they are sort of illustrated by those examples, the first and the remaining 5.
산제지 수주 구당 수주 수구 제나 안에 가서 소 사람지 소 공부할 때내 주미 안에 수구당 대제라 장지당 뒤인부이 안에 가 말어 산제지 수 되게 된저 산제기 수주 구체 안에 장지체 뒤인부 배 뒤인비 배심지 댐비 컴 산제 감 산제지 꾸주롱기 감 아니 치기 틀에 삼지 미자바 인장 아니 치유고 틀에 주롱기 라신도 셔와 차오 섬전담제 치기 틀에 주롱기 라신도 셔와 차오.
The examples of the form of the Buddha, the honey, and the kernel of the grain are examples to illustrate the basic element, and that this basic element, which is the potency to become transformed into the Buddha body, is engaged by the enlightened activities, by the enlightened deeds of the Dharmakaya.
되게 가서래 네 라시 초구다 대신이다 리단이 니니 안에 배숨 세대 대인발 배숨 그때 바대체 라지 이주 질라주는데 다 설지배 지기 안에 대신시 용보대 용보대 초구 라시 남다게 차당 이시 초구 라시 남다게 차당 넘버 자와 가서 남다게 차당 넘버 미터위 개발 매봐 산제 그 초구 라시 남다게 차대당 아니 티시지 이오데 랑경 오다 라시기 치만 미와 매봐 넘버 미터위 개발 매봐 인장 초구 라시 남다게 차다 넘버 미터위 개발 매배 설을 주어 매봐 나지 티신이지 아니 티신지 라시도 셔와 차오.
So therefore it possesses the nature of the Dharmakaya, meaning that sentient beings have the potential to be engaged by the enlightened deeds of the Dharmakaya. So these are the 3 examples to illustrate this point. And then you have the golden statue to show the natural purity. That this basic element, in its natural purity, in its suchness, nature, then it is you cannot differentiate it, like the nature of the gold, the one simile of the gold is illustrate that it has the nature of suchness, meaning that the Tathagata essence is undifferentiated from the Dharmakaya in its aspect of natural purity.
Yes, sir. 나 되게 대신이 대세, 대신이 있으나 춘이 대랑신 춘이세. 나 들제라 아니 가서래. 나는 진이 시와차 세간디 아니 다 감더르시비 님보디. 때당 진신당 아니 전부 죽고당 콜리주와당 세지 수지 병아니 아니 삼전주지 대신님보대 산제지 구슴제비 아니 수구당 시주구당 오유구 제비 이르지라신도 아니 시와샤바 송아르다.
And by these 5 examples of the treasure, the tree, the precious statue, the universal emperor, and the statue of the Buddha, by these 5 examples to know that the Tathagata essence is the source for generating the 3 Buddha bodies, the form body, the Rupakaya, the truth body, and the Nimanakaya body. So that it is that this by these examples, then one should know that the Tathagata essence has the potency to transform one into the state of these 3 Buddha bodies. 5 similes, namely treasure, tree, precious statue, universal emperor, and the statue of the Buddha, illustrate that the Tathagata essence has the nature of the lineage that develops into the 3 bodies of the Buddha. So for the expanded explanation of the correspondence, then correspondence to Dharmakaya, correspondence to suchness, and correspondence to lineage. So the correspondence to the Dhammakaya is explained between between over 2 points, divisions and correspondence. The divisions has what is the Dhammakaya, and then the answer by way of the root text and the commentary.
추구남니 시자데 천신도 참매당 세와 천신도 참매당 천신도 참 리균디 아니 가서래 사와당 나서 순이 땜바 오 세디 자와티 조고 있어래.
So the root text is 146. The doctrine body is to be known as having 2 aspects: the very undefiled element of a superior's qualities, the actual realization, doctrine body, that is the object of the exalted wisdom of individual insight, and the teaching, causally concordant with realizing that of the mode of the profound emptiness and the mode of the various vast conventionalities, such as the grounds and paths that are taught in accordance with the interests of trainees, the imputed doctrine body, the verbalized doctrine.
삼재 탐재라 감도를 시비 인부 대 삼재 탐재를 차와래 와 감도를 시비 인부 대 삼재 탐재를 차와 인장 아니 된다 용에 받아 차와탕 용에 받아 차와탕 당연 제 산재 유광바 토비지기 남시 생각이 돈용 모습도 도비 이시 통남 통마 남시 통마 남시 토바당 통남 토바 지바래 토론토바다 람시 토바 지바 가상 람시 시지와 인자 람시 기위 능어 송지 잠바 람시 응어수 기위 땡데라 카디 고아레 세나 아니 창주 초도 셈 가지고 고요아레 유 무슨 기위 땡데라 대한 창주 초도 셈 제바 임바 유소성해와 이노 세 저와 저사라 텐데와레 다 균의 기위 때한테라 가려와래서나 아니 섬전 탐제 남시 균의 기위 아니 남시 균의 기위 때래 섬전 탐제 남시 균의 기위 때인 바디 균장 가려래서나 다 섬전 탐제라 티시시 감지 차바숨 비체스 다 문제 두 조거.
So with regards to sentient beings pervaded by the basic element of the Tathagata is what that says is that its object is ascertained, objective being ascertained is with regards to generating the knowledge of the path, which is knowledge of the path is the direct realization of emptiness. Generating the knowledge of the path is simultaneous with the attainment of the path of seeing. So the criteria for generating the knowledge of the path is having generated the mind, having generated the mind of bodhicitta. So in that respect, then on that premise, then one generates the knowledge of the, because sentient beings can generate that knowledge, can generate the knowledge of the path. So that is the reasoning to say why sentient beings are pervaded by this basic element. And then Dhammakaya should be known as having two aspects. And the two aspects of the Dhammakaya are the Dhammakaya of realizations and Dhammakaya of the teachings that we mentioned before as well. So the first is the gnosis Dhammakaya of realization, which is the direct perception of the Dhamma Dhatu, naturally pure, devoid of all adventitious defilement, and therefore totally undefiled. So, not only is it naturally pure, but it is pure of even the adventitious defilement.
아니 무슨 또바디 균딘지 대부 숭랍대 사와 텐담 덴바 뭐든지 도대당 아니 뭐든지 도대당 아니 뭐든 도지 아니 가사다 풍보라 소비 군조 나조비 추니 측당 이게 민자외 나조바 덴비 장된지 도대 이요아래 다디 가설에 점된되게 송라 장된 그 도당 뭐든 그 돈이 치위가라 뭐든 그 도당 장된 그 돈이 요아래.
And the Dhammakaya of the teachings is the teachings that are refers to teachings that are taught. And as a result of those teachings, then, the realization of emptiness and so forth that are generated within the mind, like that, refers to the teachings as concordant results of the direct perception of suchness within the mind of the Buddhas. So these teachings of the teachings comprise of the definitive teachings and the interpretive teachings. These comprise of the profound teachings referring to the definitive sutras expressing ultimate truth, and the teachings on the various conventional truths of persons, aggregates, and so forth, which are taught using a variety of terminology by the provisional sutras, the interpretive sutras.
사와 텐단 덴비 동 어디지 도대당 시간아 여사자이 도이냐 자이 도이 가서 도대 간다 텐단 주와 덴바 대단히 너희 텐 차차오 텐셰차오 도대 간다 군주 주와 덴바 대단히 차위 텐셰차오 세 양 도대 간다 측당 이게 나줘바 덴바 대단히 차위 텐셰차오 세요 다 대단 tumba 대순간이 말이야.
Kind of distinguishing what are categorized as definitive sutras and interpretive sutras. So in the Father and Son sutras, it's within that it states saying states saying that when a particular sutra teaches on the ultimate truths, then those are definitive sutras, and when a particular sutra teaches on the conventional truths by using terms and so forth, then those are regarded as the interpretive sutras. So in the King of the Concentration Sutras, then again it says those teachings by the Sugatas on the profound emptiness are definitive sutras, and those teachings on a person, on the aggregates phenomena, then those are interpretive sutras. So what is definitive is the ultimate truths, and what are interpretive are the conventional truths. And then when you have a sutra teaching specifically on emptiness, then those are definitive sutras. And when you have sutras teaching on conventional truths, then those are regarded as interpretive sutras.
rangi rangshi la trime shindu namba tabi cheji ingde kare re sana dan nyamsha namba meto bi yishi ji jiyu ani tegi kan tocha ki yu de la jiyu ji yu lo.
So the Dhammakaya of the Buddha should be known as having two aspects: the Dhammakaya of teachings and the Dhammakaya of realizations. The totally pure Dharma Dhatu is the object within the scope of a non-conceptual gnosis, meditative placement. So namcha namba metobe yula kharsumake namcha namba metobe yula
shindu namba tabi chi ingde donyi dirwa
so
namcha namba metobe yishiki ani chi yu re.
So the totally pure Dhamma Dhatu refers to the emptiness, and this is the focal object of that non-conceptual gnosis of the meditative placement. Where it's a mentioning of both the object and scope refers to the particular feature of this constant meditative placement. So in the state of in the state of Buddhahood, then you don't have any sort of differentiation between equipoise or post-equipoise.
Oh yeah, that 태양 대시셔봐 남지 냠사 소소랑게 리바 차위 취지 왕도 차와래 냥자 소소 대신 산제 그 유지 냥자 남바 메도 소소 라리 티 왕도 제와레스 제디 티 도바 차와 인라 텐자위 대 도비 도바데 아니 도바이시 그 추구래 도바 차와 인라 대 도비 안 도바이시 추구.
This aspect is from the point of view of dharmas individually perceived in the meditative placement of the Tathagatas. Although this is talking about objects perceived, it is referred to the Dharmakaya of realization.
수랍 대다들 아니 제제 되나 미네 뒤 광바 제배 아니 광바 제와라 때네 아니 추구 토발 규에 추구디 토비 유 수랍니 신도 남바 타바 최인ተ니 아니 또비 군진지 대부인라 와 군진지 대부인라 와 그래서
Focusing on the teachings of Buddha and meditating on their meaning leads to the attainment of the Dharmakaya. Therefore, the teaching as the cause of the attainment of the Dharmakaya are the concordant results of the perception of the totally pure Dharmadhatu. The attainment of that result of that Dharmakaya is due to the causes. Due to the substantial cause of meditating on those teachings that express the ultimate truths, conventional truths.
Oh, you saw them, she do number of a chain to Baniji, Gindin Debuina, Gidi Tomala Dene, and it is Gindina Kadayon Guaresana, Dujari Jan Sundang. Never Rimangawi, and also Giwanamji. Samba Chidawa Shinto Tedaki, and Samba Chidawa, Samjan Shanlayang, and it's a sung number of Chunguares, Namjing, Tajan Chane, and it's Samjan Ten Chebi, Dujari Jansum La Ten Chebak, and it's Sanjaki Sung number of Jetty Junguares.
Because of the conditioning factor of attaining the omniscient state of mind, then one becomes of the capacity to benefit the disciples of the three types of lineage by giving them teachings in accordance with their need. These are expressed as speech to other sentient beings as disciples of three lineages and to ordinary beings who are temporarily of uncertain lineage.
추구정을 송하체 이 근디 사와다 나서 추는 담바오세 자와데
and the teaching causally concordant with realizing that of the mode of the profound emptiness and the mode of the various vast conventionalities such as the grounds and paths that are taught in accordance with the interests of trainees, the imputed doctrine body, the verbalized teachings. So this is to identify Dharmakaya of teachings. So the Dharmakaya of teachings also has two aspects, the subtle and the fast. You have the 12 branches of teachings, and also you have also the 9 branches of teachings in some sutras.
确实出现多把节，特大节当、冷气当，是他要有效的，进入让他中意的，这样有的事情，他搞来说，呀，这话咱这话我记清楚了去。
Chudun.
好，这话咱这话的去，他群的，这话咱这话去，他不理我的，他也我的马东，也我的。
Chudun 是。Chudun 早晚当。
唐伯呢，你也我的群的写把些，唐伯也我的这话当连一切。
差不多。
再来继续故事，你我的这话的这话，你一切也我的清查下的。
真差不多。
他确定下把台了，是吧？那确定下把台了，几点了？台了，别人明白是早晚的印记的，是吧？几点，那台了，别人明白，提醒下把你当看，你知道你就点把印，是他确定下这的。
So then the correspondence, the root text is 147. Since the realizational doctrine body is beyond the world, an example capable of illustrating it is not observed in the world. Therefore, the body of a one Gandas and the basic constituent are indicated to be similar.
你讲多把一些求过的。3个句子多把一些求过，那么他已经比一些在那下求过的，多把一些求过你几点人带吧，谁的嘞？蓝几点把他下，蓝几点吧，几点人带吧，他图吧银，他图比些，蓝几点吧，他图吧的银比些，你几点呢？你人知道个，俺那白人明白，明白人他提醒些比数据管理当。求给我你当求给我看不上心情，那么他把了什么他的给 MB 求过，那什么叫他们家了？恰我当找你的点把的。
So the gnosis dharmakaya of realization is the ultimate supramundane phenomenon, and an illustration of it is not perceivable in the world. Therefore, a statue in the form of a Tathagata is likened to the naturally pure basic element, the very nature of the Dharmakaya, isolated from all adventitious defilement and pervading all sentient beings.
几点得奖，几点呢？你那变得明白，是吧？你还是。几点得奖？几点了？听你别明白。提醒些吧，你当看不着啊，你就当把赢是一个了。但提醒些为数据管你的人，求给我看不上心情，那么他把那，你如果个什么他那个人被求过，身边了恰话当着啊，你就当把的。
You know this. As stated, the ultimate supramundane phenomenon, and an illustration of it is not perceivable in the world. So this Dharmakaya, this Dharmakaya, Tathagata essence, by nature pure and pure of all the adventitious defilements, is illustrated by this form of the Buddha, a statue form of the Buddha.
但这完了，参谋说明出点呢，长这逻辑把信息，那么那时候出点呢，那时候不明写话掐写的，参谋说明出点写的，全都点把了才过的。
So, and then the next stanza, that the teaching of the mode of subtle profundity of emptiness is like the single sweet and delicious taste of honeys. So, and denoting the emptiness or the profound emptiness.
我是什么东北你参谋什么处？ 아니 전담 된바 다 전담 된바 당 동반이 지바라와
So ultimate truth and emptiness are the same.
일단 전담 된바 땜비 다진 어딘 그 도티 태양나 아니 최 탐제집이 로집이 랑신 냠신 용신 최 탐제지 오 电动的我这个电动的逻辑吧。电动电吧，电动电瓶我这个多个看的是那电动电吧，让星期动吧，电别动吧，跟我的。现在我的却他们这个逻辑比让星是那却他们这电动的我，电动的我这边让星都，安尼的娘是娘性，
So all of those definitive sutras, that teach on the ultimate truth, the meaning of that is that all phenomena by nature are of one taste in emptiness, are of one taste in its nature of being empty of true existence, and in the experience of that taste, in the experience of that taste of emptiness of all phenomena is the same.
我这边让心都娘是娘性，娘是娘把它带呢，安尼得把他带来。我台长讲真啊，我逻辑把心的，我的讲真啊，我逻辑把它就把的。
So when one experiences the meaning of the definitive sutras, which teach the ultimate truth, or the way of the subtle and profound, it is an experience of the one-taste nature of all dharmas, granting every happiness. Therefore, it is likened to the one-taste sweetness of honey.
当那么那时候出的你，那时候不你写吧恰，谁的？俺你看说的也是的，工作那时候吧，那时候电笔，那时候比出电笔，俺你长电机多的你，新把那时候比不能，你不要把提醒的写吧恰，长电机多的，俺你听来啥话给，俺你我点听到电把要把印章，我新把。那时候比不能，你不要把写话抄的，那工作个确实个顶多让个那路他都要是吧？
So, and then the last two lines of the stanza, the teaching of the mode of the various aspects of method is to be known as like the various kernels of grains dwelling in the covering of various husks. So the provisional sutras which teach on the varieties of conventional truths are likened to the kernel found within the coverage of a variety of husk. Because all of these conventional phenomena has its ultimate nature, and when you remove the covering of the husk, then you realize the emptiness or the ultimate mode of that particular entity.
Oh yeah. 你不要把写话抄我是，长电当我已经说了定义，你的俺的别家的下巴的看着来是呐，他看也看到早上过你出去当协会，俺的三节一起去个起来出一天，给我看的出一天，给我下巴的看着来是呐，去个出一天的，天呢吃一天一啦。
Yes. So in this way, So in this way, just like when you remove the coverings of the house, there is an essence inside that house. In the same way, over all of these conventional truths, then you have the essence in the ultimate mode of that particular entity. So in this way, then you have the presentation of the definitive and the interpretive presentation, the conventional ultimate truths presentation. So, and this is to denote the point of the verse which says that that the perfect Buddha body is all pervasive or all embracing. In that that as sentient beings, then sentient beings are like the recipient, are recipients of all of those Buddha activities.
等于呢，这些是被送给 아니 두자 나서 발라 최대면 관에 아니 섬제 탐제라 아니 산제 그 칠레 주바 칠레 juk 세가나 아니라 두자 랑랑게 감다 매와다 참바 아니 최대면 관에 아니 섬제 탐제라 칠레 주치.
So sentient beings engaged by the activities of the Buddhas is through the Buddha's speech activities, giving of the Dharma teachings. In that way, then sentient beings become the recipient of the Buddha's divine activities. These activities of the speech of the Buddha, then teaching the Dharma in accordance with the predispositions and mind level and interest of sentient beings. And in this way, engaging sentient beings.
타니 덴바 탑수 좋아다 텐담 덴바 탑중 좋아데 우마 주위 가라서 아래 그래서 군조 나서 봐 덴바데 아니 텐담 덴바 또베 탑라줘해.
So, as it is stated within the Madhyamika that all of those conventional truths are a key or way or means to actualizing ultimate truths.
So
likewise, in the guide to a Bodhisattva's way of life, then Shantideva says that all of these limbs, all of these branches of practice, Buddha taught for the purpose of our being able to realize that wisdom.
좀 된지 취주 진예지 숨바 탐제 아니 누자라 태관은 도배 탑수 숨바 인장.
So likewise then whatever teachings that the Buddha gave, whatever methods of the teachings that the Buddha ever gave, he gave them all for us to realize that suchness.
취지 진예가 잡아 댄전이라 잠지주 태양양의 다질지 시주민제 철라매 전에 좀 된지 취주 진이 숨바 탐제 아니 댄진 저와 주바 사모 동반이 도배 탑수 숨바지 만돼요 말에 사모 동반이 도바 숨바 태양 아니 양알랜데 고마토베 취주 숨바래.
So whatever teachings that the Bhagavan Buddha ever gave, then he gave it for the sole purpose of our realizing dependent arising. That dependent arising that generates the realization of the profound emptiness, and generating that realization of the profound emptiness as a way or means to attaining nirvana, liberation.
칠레 주바당 아니 칠레 주릉도 뒤 남양 내외 아니 추구 아니 취주구이 차와 사제 대인바다.
So that sentient beings are engaged by the activities of the Buddhas, that recipient of suitable recipient of the activities of Buddhas, and those activities of the Dhammakaya being continuously present.
다 참모사면 되는 란지론지 빠져 나만나도 나서 보면 시야차차 세차 다 된다 니마 니마서 가서래 대화디 못하죠 왜 대화디 난 대화되라 숨지 때문에 취된 셔봐 추구 차와 농다 잡아 그래서
So then illustrating the teachings of conventional ultimate truths with similes gives further explanation of the term emanate in the line, the perfect Buddha body emanates or embraces or pervades. This is because Dhammakaya emanates means Dhammakaya pervades, which in turn refers to being pervaded by the enlightened deeds, and enlightened deeds engage with all sentient beings by way of the speech of the Tathagatas, teaching the Dharma to various disciples. The capability of the enlightened deeds to engage with sentient beings is always present, and this is the meaning of pervaded by the Dhammakaya. So that's
Oh yeah, that de la Chicken Shabatella. Oh, Tatara said, Semjan did not need to see Nimbo Jan, you know, she had done so come to worship in Nimbo Jan, say come to worship in Nimbo Dambare.
And then for the commentary, you have the meaning expressed by the three similes. In this way, it is taught that these sentient beings possess the Tathagata essence.
인상 가시 디시시비 추구 토론에 치료도 뒤비 샘전디다니 가양 아니 지den지 가면 샘전이 가는 요 말이 다 디시시비 추구 토론 많이 봐 추구 토론 많이나 감더시비 님보다 마대나 아니 디시시비 추구 토론 많이 봐 인자 디시시비 추구 토론에 치료도 뒤비 샘전지 지den지 감더나 자원이 요 말이 지den지 가는 매대 남기 감래 나가들라 아니 분비 나라 소비 수신우스 와 나가라 분비 나라 마자와기 수지와 말했어 와 남기 감래 분비 나라 소비 수신우스
So stating that you know that there's in this world there is no sentient being who is not endowed with that Tathagata essence. Who can become, who can actualize that Dharmakaya. There's nobody who's outside of that sphere. Sentient beings outside, and the potential to attain the Dharmakaya of the Tathagatas are not found within the realm of sentient beings, just as the outside, the realm of space form, such as the insides of a vase is not found.
인장 전주 가서 장부샤랑 부마다 대장 준비 또 전나 장주 토가 남에도 다다르지 메시나 판단용 내가 뭐시에 태이 장주 지면도 써야 돼. 장부다 샤장다 부마라 소외 아니 준비 또 전나 안에다는 왜 장주 토그래 써야 돼. 코다 산제기 르기와 인장
Likewise, in the guide to Bodhisattvas, way of life, Bodhisattva Charavatara, there is one stanza saying that, if even the insects, if they apply perseverance, if they have the potential to actualize Buddhahood, then needless to mention human beings with the capacity to know what is beneficial and or know what is harmful. Needless to mention human beings as human beings, then the potency for attaining Buddhahood. If even the insects have that potential, if they are able to apply the effort. So in this particular verse, then, what is being denoted here is how all sentient beings have this lineage, this potency for that enlightenment.
Oh yeah, that is true. The Chaya de la Dode Malunjani, Tegadon Dode Jale, Chita Tobe Rita Tang Chayun, Dodi Jan in somebody. Samjuk Dodi Jaremedu, Chita Tobe Rijatan Chayun, Tobe Rijatan Chayun, Nangala. Dado no good to someone deba Tishindu, that Nangade, and no Tamjela and Chawate the Shindu. Chugurashi number Taba. Chugurashi number Taba, Chugurashi number Taba, Samjan Guji Rashindu, just song at 3 days. Chugurashi Tomba Tian, Samjan Tamjela. Chugurashi Tomba Samjan Tamjela Yanayang, Chugu Samjan Tamjela Yoko Amare.
So then you have the Dhammakaya pervasion as taught in the sutras. In the ornament of sutras, it says, just as space pervades all, this too pervades all. Just as space pervades all forms, this too pervades all beings. Just as space, divorced from the obstruction of tangibility, pervades all receptacles, likewise the Dhammakaya, natural purity, pervades the nature of all sentient beings. Dhammakaya, the empty nature of the Dhammakaya pervades all sentient beings. Although the empty nature of Dhammakaya pervades all sentient beings, it doesn't mean Dhammakaya is present in sentient beings.
What is it? Chingama Rashi Namda Gichala, Ani Chara Chapa, Rashi Namda Gichala, Chara Chapa Shindu Cho, Sanam. Rashi Namda Lu Dila, Rashi Namda Gichala, Chara Gomora Chara Chapa Yua Mare. Mora Chara Chapa Yua Mare de Ani Kasore, Sanje Rashi Namda, Ani Chebar Gichane. 최전기 전에 안에 타와지 자요 만도 라시 남다 코란 거 뭐라 타라 동발라 타라 мя체.
In the state of a natural purity, there is, in that nature of that natural purity, there is no differentiation of coarse and subtle. But whatever differentiation of coarse and subtle is made on the basis of the examples upon which that natural purity is presented. Just complete. Just as space pervades all forms to the aspect of the Dhammakaya, natural purity pervades all sentient beings. Although the first half of the verse is a summary of the ornament of Sutra's text, the second half is an actual quote. It is nevertheless a supporting practice. However, there is an enormous difference between the coarse and subtle aspects of the natural purity. So it is in reference to that. In its nature, there is no difference, but whatever differences are presented also on the basis of the examples. Tanda kensu bati taga machi lo in the chebe.
Oh yeah, that and the
so correspondence to suchness.
Tawala Rashi Juva Mebata Gata Namba Tapish. Tishi de Sergini, Sudan Sumba Jaba in the Tawade.
So the root, which has a root verse in commentary, the root verse is 149. The suchness, which is the nature of phenomena, is always changeless, such that even though it appears to be related with afflictive emotions, there is no change in its entity, just as gold does not change by falling into filth. And it is naturally virtuous and supreme, just as gold is beautiful and valuable, and in another way it is virtuous in the sense that just as the gold is fit to be crafted into adornments, so virtue is generated when suchness is observed and the entry of the basic constituent is pure, just as gold is pure of defilement.
Tamba Korangong all Namado, Rashi tapping all Namado, Meva Inzang, Rang Rashing or Sambo Ching about Jua Mebana, Rashing Jua Meba Tang.
So when we talk of its nature being without change, is that there's no change from a previous good state to a bad state. It remains unchanged in that nature of emptiness. Its nature is without change from good to bad. it fulfills to perfection all of one's wishes.
어디니 라신 주마 매바탕 계단나바 탑실 세가나 아니 대배 대부 랑 공바 대신이 공바라 때네 대배 대부 표순서와 진바탕.
So by meditating on this suchness of emptiness, then all of one's wishes are fulfilled.
나랑기 뭐라 아니 카나마도 봐서는 예와라 시고라 라신지 카나마도 봐다 제베 카나마도 봐서 예와라 시고라 카나마도 봐 매베 대신 상와탕 시가라 텐다비 겨와 겨와를 위해서는 말해봐 겨와를 아니 뭐부 인고라와 다 텐다비 겨와를 시그래 대신 상와.
So being without fault, being without natural faults, or being without man-made faults like that, rules, fault of rules and regulations. It is good and virtuous. You have to say it is good and virtuous ultimately, because you can't say it is the conventional form of virtue. It's not like conventional. If you say it's a conventional form of virtue, then it has to be a functioning entity. So for here, it is good and virtuous in an absolute way.
상신 상화당스 chima semji rangshin la ma shube se chima rangshin la ma shube se de chima semji rangshin la ma shube rangshin ji namba tabi chil ta sem rangshin ji tongba de tishi sem rangshin ji tongba tishi ni de ta mizang na na ye be sa ta ba de se gi ta
and with the defilements not part of its nature, it is of a natural purity. So this suchness of the mind, the empty nature of the mind, is therefore compared to like a gold, that has fallen into the filth. Therefore, this suchness, the natural emptiness of the mind, is spoken of as being like a nugget of gold amid filth, lying amid filth.
sem dendong ti xie ba de ba dong ba ani tela namba cha zu la rang xi ji dong ba namba ma do namba cha zu min zha ba me bi ju se ja me bi chu du sem jia tam jie ji sem rang xi ji ju ba la guan ne ani sem jia tam jie ge la sem jia de ji xi yin bo ni jian no si guo de sem ji rang xi la ma shu ba ro wa chema sem ji rang xi la me zu ba sang jie ge ti xi ni da yin ma shu ba So sentient being's mind being empty of true existence is no different from the Tathagata being empty of true existence. In that nature of being empty, then there is no difference. So this is the next part. This explains the ultimate truth, natural emptiness nature of the Tathagata, and the way it engages without the slightest difference in its appearance with the nature of the minds of all sentient beings. It was with this in mind that the statement, all sentient beings possess the Tathagata essence, was made. The defilements not existing in the nature of the mind. Simtimel lewa mashuwa te kaso gengit wach. Simji rangshin la. Ani timel lewa mashuwa rangshin la. Tima simji rangshin la mashuwa la gone.
Because these defilements does not exist in the nature of the mind of sentient beings, it is with this thought that that this statement is being made. All sentient beings possess the Tathagata essence.
Semjenji sem kangyin ba teni nyemo bada dunga taya bada jesu jejang nyemo dan jeware ane dunga dan jesi jeware sem nyemo dan je dunga dan jewa yin dunga dan jewa yin jang sem khorang ge rangxi la ane nyemo dan nyewa ge leba ma shuwa ye sawa ye sawa ni ji 여사와 인장 팀에라면 여사와 인지 심코랑 그 라싱 그 동바텔에 현도 넘버 2라 미담바레스 주아메바 티치리 세테네 라시 주아메비 치르세 텐다레 주아라 미담바 티치리.
So even though the mind of the sentient beings are tied to suffering, limitless kinds of suffering and afflictions, yet those yet those afflictions and those shortcomings do not exist in the nature of the mind itself, and so therefore the mind itself is by nature luminous. So with regard to that nature of the mind by nature being empty, then that nature is unchanged. The minds of sentient beings are tied to limitless affliction and suffering, and yet mind is clear light by nature and does not change from its natural emptiness. And so, just like the gold, the nature of that gold cannot be changed into anything else other than its own nature. So it is known as suchness. Therefore, the pure gold does not change into anything else, and is therefore known as suchness.
냥알레 미대비 최전시 다 네 가서로 냥알레 미대비 최전시 가라 산제 토민 냥알레 나와서 냥대라와 냥알레 미대비 최전시 냥대도 미도 토민이 봐라 샤바 로방에위 다 로반이도 내와是吧로반이도 내위 외전지 레부시 외전지 섬전 탐제라 아니 탐제라 라시 켜바메도 지양是吧 대세 양알의 미대비 최전 시에바 로반이동의 규전지 섬전 탐제라야 랑시지 주만 나바타발에 켜바요와 말에 켜바메도 지양 와 그래서
랑시기 주말라 가려
랑시지 주말라 타발에 켜바요와 말에서 양알의 미대비 최전 시에바 로반이동의 규전지 세 와 내가 그렇게 켜봐 내가 안양을 됩니다 위치에
So
안양을 믿어 최전 지를 켜봐줘 말이
So without any difference in its nature, meaning its nature of by nature being pure, without any difference in its nature, it exists in all sentient beings endowed with definite causes of great error, which is explained as meaning those causes that do not produce nirvana. So even though you may have sentient beings whose Buddha lineage has been temporarily severed, or who are not able to access nirvana, even though you may have this, but there is but in in that natural purity, then there is no difference regardless of whether their lineage is temporarily severed or whether they are with causes that do not produce nirvana. But regardless of that, in that natural purity, then there is no difference.
Rashi cheba medu senjang se de rashi ji chima namba taba cheba meba sindu sina lubu ji ni mo dang xie xie diba tata namba taba le kyuwi chi da ti ne ga ga ani ka sa rashi ki chima de cheba yo ma re de ti di ta lubu ji ni mo dang lubu ni mo nyomo be diba dang xie ji diba tata ke namba taba ma ju ba re ma ju ba yi da ti xi ni re de 티시샤바 마레스 와 루부지니 몬당 시진 리베 나 타다게 나바 창와 타발에 주와 티세 티시샤바 시에자베 남단도 저그레 저디 이 섬제 탐제 이 티시니 섬제 탐제 그 티시니 티시샤바 담바르 와서나 대남스 아나테 던정해라테
So there is no difference in that natural purity, but the differentiation is of the the adventitious defilements set by the adventitious defilements and the obscuration to omniscience. So purified of adventitious afflictions and of all obscuration to omniscience, it is known as Tathagata. Whether this is a saying that the suchness of all sentient beings is Tathagata or the suchness purified of all defilement is Tathagata is something to investigate. Tishin re mashi tishin shabu maris.
Oh, tishin shabu maris.
Tishin res.
Tishin re de tishin shabu maris.
That sentient beings are not Tathagata, but sentient beings are suchness.
Right. In that Tabala Chuvitse, Lubuji Chumada Numobi Chimanaba Taba Chuvitera, that Tishaba Shechagres, Tishaba Shecha Namda to draw this.
You can be called by the name of being a Tathagata when you are purified of the adventitious defilements and the obscuration to omniscience.
In that, the Samja Tamjaji Tishini Tishaba Dana, Yendi Timatada Gitabana Tishaba Dan Sambachawa, that the Tishaba Dan Tsuyona Yang, the Tishini the Timatada Gitaba, and Tishaba Dambar.
When that suchness of the sentient beings is purified of all defilements, then it becomes the basis for being called a Tathagata.
That's why. Tanandi Sergi Pejigi Tishini la Rangi Moyo Chavi, and the number Mindavi Eva maybe 21 to China. Tishibi Tishini Dang, more than we check on the channel, Tishibi Tishini, Semyantaka Nimbo Yishitamba, more mineral maybe channel, Tishibi Tishini, and the Semyantaka come directly with Nimbo Yistambare.
Therefore, this one simile of gold is presented on the basis of suchness being indivisible, in the sense that its entity is not divided into different aspects, and on the basis it is taught that suchness of the Tathagata is the essence of sentient beings.
Tenan diris serki pechigi tishini la rangi ngoye chewe namba mindrawa ye maybe 21 to chenes moment rawa ngoye chewe namba mindra yewa ya mare kanga rangshin ko tombe ngo rawa.
There is no differences of by way of its nature, because its nature is all emptiness. And so, in being empty, you can, in that empty nature, then in scope of that, there is no differentiation.
아니, 내가 완도 전에 티신시비 티신이 세가나 아니 티신이 있잖아 티신시비 감된배 동바면 야나 티신시비 티신이 대 semjentheda 그 인보 있잖아 민기 담바래 티신시비.
So therefore, it is said that the suchness of the Tathagata is posited as the essence of the sentient beings.
예수비 전승지wan도 제대 다들 추구다 티신이다 릭세가나 전승지wan도 제위 니위ten 티신시비 니위ten 레버셔바 인데 태양 티신시비 티신시바 천이바스나 산제체 뒤투주기 라신 남다기 차태당 뒤투주기 섬정의 주지 라신 남다기 차스리가나 라신 남다기 오뉴고 대차태당 섬정의 주지 라신 남다 스니가나 가람주 주지 아니 섬 라신지 동바 라신지 치면 남바타바데 남다기 차니라 모세 신도 이와 매발라 고네 안에서 티시시 인보 스면 다와래 뭐래 이와 매발라 때네 티시시 인보 장노시 라와 셰베
런신 남다기 오니 쿠타 셈 런신기 동와텔라
투주기 라신 남다기 차스나 산제그 주지 오니 구데레 와 대당 셈쟁그 주지 라신 남다기 차니오니라 라신 남다스나 오니 구다 요 말데 돈이 지와라 봐 돈이 되라 라신 남다 오 테니라 모세시도 이와 매발라 원에 아니 셈쟁그 주지 셈 된동 라신 남다 되라 지시시 인보 전에 송바레
of the three reasonings referring to the reasoning of Dhammakaya, suchness, and lineage. Of the three reasonings for stating all sentient beings possess the Tathagata essence, this section clearly teaches the second of those, because the natural purity aspect of the mind of the actual Tathagata and the natural purity aspect of the minds of the sentient beings is unlike the colors blue and yellow. They're indivisible, meaning that the natural purity of the Tathagatas, meaning the Swabhavakaya holy body, and a sentient being's mind being empty by nature. In these two, then you cannot differentiate between these two, like how you would differentiate two colors, blue or yellow, like that. You cannot differentiate.
Oh yeah.
And for this reason, the sentient beings are said to possess the Tathagata essence. Therefore, the assertion that Tathagata exists in the minds of sentient beings has not been thought out at all. This is referring to those who assert the view that just because you have the Tathagata Garbha, then that you have the Buddhahood in you, since that one has the Buddha, that you have the Buddhahood in you since beginningless time, the primordial Buddha, like that, and that this Buddhahood in you has been temporarily sort of obscured by all of one's adventitious defilements, and that when those are purified, then this Buddhahood Buddhahood that exists in you becomes manifest. So it's referring to that.
다더니 치도대 치니 다 룬단 자와 되라 도이룬다 땡지고 룬이 유변하니 스므라시지 남바 타파 시차데 있어 다 섬정지 스므라시지 남바 시차데 이신나와 gen진 도래 전배 티신시바는 나기 녀월레비 풍보대 끼비 그 당진이라 아란족이다 사전예례지 풍보대 끼비 그대 당진래 티시자 미바테 티시자 다 당진 대기 강라 미비 유대 가르래서나 다도 좋아 제야대 가르래서나 티시자 미바타 준세자 매배 당진대 다도 좋아 제야기 시자 다도 좋아데 준세자 매배야 매바를 안에 티시시병 무슨도 용서 참발 자네.
So, with regards to the application to the sutra, you have a citation from the sutra, and the sutra here is the Janalokan Lankara Sutra, in which it says, Manjushri, that the Tathagata sees directly and completely the foundation of that which is held as the self. The foundation for that which is held as the self is these contaminated appropriate aggregates. That's the foundation of that which is held for the self. The cause that creates the aggregates, the cause that creates the aggregates is holding to self. And the Tathagata sees the focus of this foundation not existing at all. So you have the contaminated aggregates, which acts as the basis upon which we have the grasping at the truly existent I. The focus of this grasping at truly existent I is this I or self truly existing. So the Tathagatas see that this I, apprehended by the grasping at true existence, does not have the slightest of existence.
인자 당진지 미바 시자 당진티 시자 미바 탁스 멤버 인사디 자 디는 바 당진지 미바 시자 다티 중사자 매바를 시기사 다티 당진지 미바 시자 다티 중사자 매바를 티신시에 무슨도 용서 첨바 자네.
So the Tathagatas directly perceive that the focal object, I or self, of this grasping at true existence does not have the slightest bit of existence.
다 섬전에 다도 증발라 송아 저그래. 봐. 인자 송아 간제 저그래서나 chima semji rangshin la ma shuba da namba tabe da rangshin ji namba tabe semjen rangshin ji namba tabaya namba taba so namba tabaya doso segana namba taba res da rangshin ji namba taba khayin bate semjen ji rangshin namba taba res yinjang chima semji rangshin la ma shuba yinjang
because the defilements does not exist in the nature of the mind of sentient beings, so you have the purity, you have that purity of the sentient beings. The king mangusunje chingmindo. King mangusumra chingmasunye.
Da namba tabe da 다기 라신라 티멜라바 마시바 다 남바 타바 임베 심전 탐제자 라신지 남바 타바 레스.
So the purity of the self refers to, because the defilements does not exist in the nature of the mind, so you have the purity of the self, and that natural purity of sentient beings are indivisible.
다다 심전 니오데 라신지 남바 타바라 There
is no difference in the purity of the self and the purity of the sentient beings.
라실라 팀에 라바 마슈와 인장 아니 셈당 다니오데 팀에 차롱 인장 아니 가소레 팀마다 차오라 체비 탑 아니 냠수 람발라 땡네 아니 가사데 가사다 셈제니오데 나도 쯤바데라 송아 쯤바데기 샤완도 마송와 아니 쯤바데기 샹유 까데 아니 쯤바데 도바체바 인장 아니 셈제지 당지 송아 이제데 세팅지
So, this the self and the mind, the self and the mind. From the self and the mind, then whatever defilements are there, then those defilements can be removed by employing the practices of the method. And so by employing those practices of the methods, then one can sort of destroy the grasping of the self of a person and the grasping of the self of a person, of sentient beings, and totally refute or negate the object that which is apprehended by this grasping at true existence.
So, Rashi Namda Sanje Tang, Semjen La Chepa Mejang, Chepa Meba Yejang, Tishishiva Trumatada, and Tishishi Gigi, and Rashi Namda, Trumanambata, Trumatata Tabala Jimmy, Tishini, Sanje Tishini Dang, Tedang, Tendavi Tishini, Sanje Sem Rashi Tombade. 아니 산제다 semjen 니가를 chepa meba yebe chepa meba semjen yebala gone 아니 semjen kuyam drowa kuy 아니 tishishi nimbo jere chene sungbare sigarida.
So in the ornament of the sutras it says that although the natural purity found in all sentient beings and in the Buddha is not differentiated, that which arises from purifying the suchness of all defilements is the Tathagata. Therefore, on the basis of existing in sentient beings, undifferentiated from the suchness of the Buddha, all beings possess the Tathagata essence. So we'll stop here. So questions?
I was wondering, Rinpoche last week was talking about 3 levels of forbearance. One.
Kasa dundang nyama de la sabasum sunsungas.
The first one was on path of preparation.
And the jalam gene was saba. Chung ding chumbo soba.
The medium was path of seeing, and then the great was the 8th level.
And the soba ding the tonglam che, and soba chumbo de gebala sageba.
So the path of forbearance on the
Forbearance
on the path of preparation, it doesn't technically have a path of liberation.
the soba chumugi nekapsu di teni chungwe namdulam ke yomarwas. It does not have an arising of a liberated path or independence upon the small forbearance in relation to the path of preparation. It doesn't have.
So the
this forbearance is presented not from the point of view of what objects of abandonment are destroyed, not from that, but forbearance is mostly presented from the point of view of the mind that realizes emptiness. Because on the path of preparation, you do generate a concentration, which is the concentration of the unified, calm abiding and the special insight arising out of meditation. So therefore, you are said to generate the small forbearance at that stage. So forbearance is mostly from the perspective of your realization in relation to emptiness, and not presented from the point of view of abandonment.
아니 돈용 것음도 또 돈이 아니 다 가르소래 말지 마녀위 최사모텔라 짜르발라 미자바베 아니 쳐지스 아니 쳐지스바 사람터송아들이
So then on the path of seeing, where you have the direct realization of emptiness, you generate the medium level of the forbearance, which is like, realities that were potentially frightening in the past is no longer frightening to you anymore, because you have that direct insight into reality. So that is, the forbearance of Dharma, forbearance of reality. And so, and at the 8th level, when you generate the great forbearance is in relation with that realization emptiness, where you totally exhaust grasping at true existence.
Yeah.
So, if a path is an uninterrupted path, is it necessarily a path of forbearance, and vice versa? If it's a
pache melam ge lam yina rwa ani chosu jesu in the yingu ras. Not necessary.
chosu jesu de tholam gi nega.
Sorry, krange tuadra pache melena soba yingu ras, soba ina pache melam yingu ras.
Soba ina pache melam yingu re.
If it's an uninterrupted path, it does not need to be any of those 8 forbearances. It doesn't have to be forbearance. But if it is a forbearance, it has to be an uninterrupted path.
나 공방 내가라 서바단 타냐 지금 말해. 공방 받자면은 좋더라.
게임 권에서다 야구치면서 받자면은 되라.
받자면은 서바당 받자면은 서비 타냐 지에당 남로나의 시위 타냐 지에데 조지 서바 통방 방변에서 통남지 내가서. 와.
So
통남 받자면은 나서 서바 연구래.
So, differentiating between an uninterrupted path and forbearance is because of the path of seeing objects of abandonment. Like on the liberated path, then liberated path and knowledge of the path, there is no differentiation like that. And the reason why you have, like in the meaning. On the path of meditation, you don't have that kind of differentiation. So like on the path of meditation, you have an uninterrupted path, but you don't make any distinctions of forbearance. Here, the reason on the path of seeing why you have this kind of distinction of uninterrupted path and distinctions of forbearances is with respect to its abandonments on the path of seeing. I'll just counter-check. The 통람라 the 가수레 파제멜람다 서바스체 이제 개발체야 요새 통방기 토네.
통방 같은.
The reason why we have distinction between uninterrupted path and the forbearance on the path of seeing is because of the object of abandonment on the path of seeing, the way in which it acts as a direct antidote to sort of pinpoint that you have this kind of distinction made. And this kind of you no longer have this kind of distinction between uninterrupted path, or you have no saying uninterrupted path and forbearance. On the path of meditation, you don't have those distinctions like that. It's only in the path of seeing, and you have that because of what needs to be abandoned on the path of seeing.
So the forbearances that we talked about in Nan's question, the one on Jordan, path of preparation, and one at the 8th level, are forbearances only in name, but you're not actual forbearances?
Jolam ki kapsu ki soba chungu ta sa gebe sa gebe ki soba te taga soba ta ma shi chi soba ngune ki marwa sor. Did you ask?
Because we just said that forbearances only exist on the path of seeing.
We are talking about forbearance in terms of like the realization of emptiness that you generate. We talk. So.
Forbearance on the path of preparation and at the 8th level. Is forbearance. So you have 3 levels of forbearance.
Yeah, small and great.
Right. The small and great aren't on the path of seeing.
They are not on the path of seeing. Yes. Soba chungda soba chambodi ani tholang vini ko su yamar vaso. No. So what's the question?
But before it was said that all forbearances are on the path of seeing. And now it sounds like a contradiction.
Marita crying toward this na soba den so tholang vini ko su yore ma shi gomlam la ta pache.
This to tonu. And the major chelo soba top say go soba ta dang tonlam soba se bed kakari ani. tonlam ge nega soba je se ta dang soba se ji wa. An den ji kari mo ka so le.
The soba chimboda soba dingda soba chung.
Se se ta dang ani major chelo soba top se kakari es.
When we talk about
soba je se ge wa tonlam ge ka ge soba je se ta dang soba chingdi sunga de pai kakari es.
When we talk about forbearance, small forbearance, medium forbearance, and grace forbearance, talking of those 3 types of forbearance and talking about the sequence of those 8 forbearance, they are that are found on the path of sin. They are completely different forbearance.
This nila maybe ani mi ta be saba togu kana ta toni la maybe sila sunje top de zamba ani saba chongo de top. Toni ngo sum de toyi kana ani saba tin de top. Ani den진 사별다 자유 밤에 아니 돈이 무슨 또 바타 여기 사제바 토지자 냠바니 미소 있을 거나 아니 서버 첨부터 또 샤거와.
So the 3 kinds of the 3 levels of forbearance that we talked about is relates to, you know, when you first generate calm abiding and special insight into emptiness and no longer have that fear of that reality. That's when you attain the first level of forbearance. And when you have the direct insight into emptiness, then you have the medium level of forbearance. And when you have the, when you have the forbearance, getting rid of the grasping at true existence, you have the 8th level, the greatest level of forbearance.
다 소바 제세데 다시 쉬어나지 감숨지 대시 통방기 원예 바제 집이 차이나 되는 소바 샤기도 와.
So the 8 forbearances that we're talking about is in relation to the objects of abandonment on the path of seeing in relation to the 3 realms, the desire and the 2 higher realms.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how to articulate this very well, but it's do you have the Tibetan?
I don't have the Tibetan.
Page 179 of English. I'm just really trying to understand this term, which it's in like you said, subjective mind, you talked about, let's see, that forbearance is the distinctions in the subjective side, object engaging consciousness, the Yuchen thing.
다른 식의 제수 임베 단다치 유진 직사죠 봐. 제수기 디 대셔지 단다 버저 랑리 마레세 지지 대셔 no
I don't understand the meaning of the Yuchen. Maybe you could just look from here. So it says Yuchen Dobre Jerik, and then also Yuchen Dobre. So what does that really mean?
Sumja chula yobet.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
From here. So this one Yuchen Dobre Jerik, and this one Yuchen Dobre.
And the Yigdang gang Yigdang Ngabadere. Tian Dishi Chunigi Yuchen Dobre Cheve, Dobre Chachin Jesu, she days. Soba Gegi, Mo Chigla, Dopa Tadebe Suldo Yula. Tituna Luburgi Timas this one. Luburgi Titelgi Gorten Matoba Yinos.
Joe Karimbata.
Di Yauche Gotsuma sons and the cups destructionas that happened to Yulchen Seajora.
What the tongue at
Chuni Topala Dune T Yulchen Topper Joba Yino said.
This is Chini Yujan Top. Can I say? Dobby China, Juicy cities, more Topata said in bed.
Just
In a do in bar. Titan does it, Beja de la Sundugana, down Shatan Chilla. Juicy Stewardty. Churchy Stewardty. Juicy the Churchy you were the Jigrava. Dobby Charmando. Jimba. Then the Juicy Stewardty. You don't talk about the ready, don't you talk about the ready. Said you gonna Juicy said this. Churchy Dobby China Shire. Churchy Dobby China. So, you know, this subsequent forbearance, it is a mind which is realizing, or which at the moment is realizing emptiness, but it is distinguished as realizing forbearance of forbearance of reality. Subsequent that mind of subsequent forbearance of reality is a mind realizing emptiness, but at that phase is regarded as a subsequent forbearance of reality with respect to its realizing forbearance of reality. Lokaji Jari, kind of college, Jesse showed the career, Jesse than Jesse said the career, Jesse said, come community, Tombangi Yambo Chebichana, Jesse dan, come Dabaki Tombangi Yambo Chebicana, Jesse, Jawati Jarwa. How was I did?
That Gengi Tanda Marek Gengi Tanda Deshe Ditcham. It's going too fast. This morning, Rumchi was saying that, forbearance of reality is in relation to it acting as an antidote on the objects of abandonment of the Four Noble Truths. In relation to the desire realm, and then you have the subsequent forbearance of reality in the context of its acting as an antidote to the Four Noble Truths of the, in relation to the two higher realms. So,
Therefore, the distinction to me seems
That's you are.
object.
Dindes che qualembrachina, Maransana, Dindes che qualembrachina, Yulgitone Kebashasha Mashi,
Young boy, child, mother.
La.
You going to do Shagu or Banja Gona.
La.
帮着当帮助过呢下送啊，下送啊，他谈谈的明代的趋势，角色在的明代的开始产的效果的是呢，确实多比多钱呢，是吧？确实多比多钱，有件确实多比多钱呢，角色当有件确实多比多钱呢，角色是个的，是吧？哦。
So because of that mind realizing the subject, forbearance of reality, it's known as forbearance of reality. And because of it realizing in the subject, forbearance of reality, it is known as subsequent forbearance of reality.
真正意义上，有件确实多比多钱，就是啥就讲了，有件让你给让你多比钱的效果的，确实这是因为计划这个话。
Because the subjective mind forbearance of reality is that which perceives the mind of forbearance of reality, then it's like this mind knowing this mind. The mind itself knowing itself. So, forbearance of reality and subsequent forbearance of reality, you have given these two different names, but in reality it is one uninterrupted path. If you ask, if that object consciousness, since it realizes itself, since it perceives itself, is that a self-cognizing consciousness? That it is not. Even though that subjective consciousness realizes itself, the mind itself, it is not a self-knowing cognizer, as it is stated in the unraveling of the thought. When that non-conceptual mind it realizes its object emptiness, upon realizing the object emptiness, it realizes itself as well. So even though it is subjective consciousness knowing itself, it is not a self-knower, because in the assertion of the point of view of Uttaratantra Madhyamikans and the schools below it, then they assert a self-cognizer, where a mind which is defined as a mind knowing a mind, but and kanda zinam yangawa.
Zinam yangawa se rari tela zinam yangawa se. Shewa koran jigo yudi chiti shen misa michawari.
So in their definition of a self-cognizer is that is a single cognition of a single object of consciousness itself, mind itself. Single apprehension of a single entity, the mind itself.
In English,
apperception.
Yeah.
Apperception.
그렇죠.
Mind which is just perceiving itself alone. Whereas what Rinpoche is talking about is this mind understands emptiness, but also it kind of knows
Itself, yeah.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
That's different from the apperception of this lower school of thought,
Apperception.
which is sort of like isolated, internally focused.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
带下去。
Okay.
萨西北极出现麦道长，日绕灵性人的讲，当前新都没得不也，这把学一当古罗然那。